All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live for today's running of the ARCA Menards General Tires of the season and our second and final one on KRC as far as the live commentary streams go. The race is on Fox Sports 1 if you're wondering where you can watch it. On today's broadcast is going to be Jamie Little, Trevor Bain, and Phil Parsons in the Fox Sports 1 booth. You'll get to listen to them periodically throughout the course of the race when you're not listening to me with the full flag-to-flag coverage. This is our second stream of the day. Just wrapped up NASCAR Cup Series qualifying about a half hour ago, and it is time for this ARCA race. Our only other ARCA Menards Series race that we had live commentary for this season was in the season opener at Daytona. It took place on a Friday night, just shy of midnight into the early morning hours. Got done about 2 a.m. It was a very late night after moving the race up a day from its original start time at 7, or from the original start time in the afternoon hours of Saturday because of rain. So as far as this stream goes, no rain will be impacted in today's race. We're going to have our full events for you guys. Waiting to get the starting lineup on the screen. I wonder if it's because cars are not on the racetrack yet, because I can't get the starting lineup on there. So I guess I'll have to go to a different tab to get the actual starting lineup. Now, there was no qualifying for ARCA, so the starting lineup will be based off of the owner's points in the ARCA Menards series. And not all these drivers have ran every race this season. 34 drivers, though, will be slated to be in the field here today. And this is by owner's points of last season, not this season, apparently. So last season's owner's points makes up the starting lineup for this season's race. This is obviously only the third race, again, of the ARCA season. Jake Finch will be on the pole for this one in the 20 car for Billy Venturini Motorsports. Tanner Gray will be on the outside of row number 1. We know him, of course, being a full-time regular in the truck series. Andres Perez and Tony Breidinger will line up in row 2, and row 3 will be Chris Wright and Christian Rose. Frankie Muniz making his return on the inside of row 4. To his outside will be Bryce Hogberg. Michael Maples and Ed Papa in row number 5. Row 6 is going to be Ryan Roulette and Alex Clubb. Oh, geez, man, I forgot how tough some of these names are. Nikolopoulos. I think I did say that correct. So oh my goodness. Nikolopoulos on the inside of row 7. Brad Smith to his outside. And row number 8 is going to be Gus Dean, the Daytona winner, and LeVar Scott will be starting above him. Scott Melton, Casey Carden will be in row number 9. Look for Melton to have some speed in that 69 car today. I think he can work his way to the front early on. Andy Jankowiak, who was in the running for the end of the Daytona race win, ended up getting in a crash nearly on his lid on the final lap of the race, but was up on that late race overtime restart to almost get the victory. Cody Dennison will be to his outside in row number 10. Greg Van Alst, former Daytona winner in the ARCA Series a season ago, will be on the inside of row 11 with Jason Kitzmiller, another fast race car starting deep in the field, to his outside. Sean Corr and Amber Balkin will line up in row number 8. Sean Corr should have good speed in his number 8 today as well. Caleb Costner and AJ Moyer will line up in row 13. And row 14 is going to be Dale Shearer and Jeff Schofield. In row number 15, it'll be Thomas Annunziata and Chuck Buchanan. Eric Caudell and Tim Richmond will be in row 16. Row 17 to round out the 34-car field today will be Hunter Deschatel and Ben Peterson. If anybody watching is a family member of any of the two names I completely butchered in this starting lineup, I greatly apologize. But as far as everybody else tuning in today, I'm sure you can understand. Especially when you consider the fact that I've never seen the names of those two drivers before. I guess that was my lack of prep coming into this stream here today. So they have already given the command to fire engines for this one. I would imagine that we should get this live leaderboard up and running here eventually. But that is the starting lineup for the General Tire 200 today. 200 miles, 76 laps is the scheduled distance for this one. Keegan Schneider Jr. making his ARCA debut. Well, I do not have a kid, so nor would he be old enough, considering how young I am, to be able to run a stock car around Talladega Superspeedway. Donna Egbert, thanks for tuning in. Cool, you got someone to root for in a ARCA series. I mean, this is only the second race I've watched. I did not watch the race at Phoenix. That was the only other main ARCA Menards series race this season. So again, just the third one on the schedule, and 2 super speedways early in the year, with Daytona obviously kicking off the season, and here today. Gustine and the Venturini Motorsport cars really dominated the second half of that last race. Gustine not really working with his teammate on that last lap restart in that one. We'll see if he works well together today. Maybe they hang him out in a late race situation, knowing that he did the same to them, and I would imagine would do the same again. But I think we're going to have a pretty good one here this afternoon. Leaving for Talladega at 3:30 a.m. Yeah, again, safe travels to you, Wade. Uncle Plain Guy, thanks for tuning into the stream. Earl Arnold Jr., Wade Solinsky, and others, welcome in. Refresh the page here, see if that helps. Blue flag indicator or something. Whatever this is. Cars are on the racetrack right now. They're on the pace laps. They've not gotten the one-to-go signal quite yet. Try to log out of this and see if I can find something else. Oh, this is race highlights. I know NASCAR. April 20, 2024. It is this race. There it goes. I like how it says null for the name for every driver. That will fill in eventually.
Wanted that win, but Shannon built you a brand new car here, and the thing looked fast yesterday. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I got a really good race car. Obviously, Shannon knows what he's doing. He's done a great job, and love working with him and Tyler Mott up top. So I think we got a good race car. I think if we just come out here and execute like we know how to, I think it'll be a good day.
You know, speaking of Shannon, he has a little bit of history with your dad. As a matter of fact, he was a crew chief when your dad won here with Brad Keselowski. And I know you remember it well. What were you, 3 years old?
Yeah, I don't remember too much about it, right? But I think that just means Shannon's getting a little old, right? But no, he's a really smart man, does a great job, and he treats me like family, and he takes me in well. And wouldn't be here without him. So I appreciate him, Billy, Menards, and everybody else who gives me the opportunity to do this. So we'll see what we can do.
All right, buddy. We appreciate it. Have a great run.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Phil, how about the race analysis?
That was Jake Finch, by the way, that they were interviewing, the pole sitter for today's race. Lights are out on the pace car, so they will be going green this time by. I mentioned already the scheduled distance, 76 laps in this one. 202 miles is the race length. And we will have a caution at lap 38 for a cop yellow. So cop yellow at lap 38, and that is to fuel the race cars to make it to the end, change tires. There are no live pit stops in ARCA, unless, of course, you get into some sort of an incident along the way, but that would be about it.
We welcome in Mamba Smith.
How's it going? I'm so excited to be here. And who else is excited to be here? Frankie Muniz. He just got back from the jungle shooting a TV show. He said his wife called him on the way back and said, babe, we're going to Talladega and we're going to win. I asked Frankie earlier, where are you going to be after the win? He said the Boulevard, baby. Heather?
Well, for Greg Van Alst's mission today is to come out of Talladega with the points lead. In order to do that, he got some good advice from 1995 ARCA Series champion Andy Hillenberg, who told him when you're in this position, you just have to race ARCA, which means know the guys that are around you. There's not a lot of full-time guys, differing levels of experience, so think long-term goals. So Greg will put that approach to the test to see if he can survive and get a good finish today.
Greg Van Alst on the minds of a lot of drivers in that field. They want to hook up with that guy and get to the front. And we have 4 onboards that will take you throughout the race today, gentlemen.
Yeah, we're going to ride along with Ryan Roulette. He is active U.S. Air Force pilot, and he's piloting this car for the first time at Talladega, but he qualified, or is going to start 11th, good starting position.
How about Amber Balkan starting back in 24th with the Sioux Chief Showdown, or not even the Showdown, just the Sioux Chief onboard this time around.
Here's our Daytona winner from last year, Greg Van Alst.
All right, cars firing up in the Geico restart zone, and we are underway for the ARCA Menards Series race at Talladega. Again, 76 laps, halfway at lap 38 will be the competition caution. Anything that happens before or after will be due to an incident resulting in any sort of a stoppage or a yellow. Inside line forming up very quickly at the front of the field. Only 2 cars in the outside lane in that probably 3rd or 4 plus rows. There are about 5 or 6 more cars on the outside trying to trail the 2 that lead the way up high for right now. The 18 and the 25 are up on the outside, and then that 3 to 4 car length gap to the 3rd car on the outside behind them. They lost their drafting partners. Everybody who started initially in the outside lanes behind them quickly jumped down to the bottom. The gap is slowly starting to fill now as the 20 car is going to be the leader at the end of lap 1. Jake Finch leads the opening lap of the race. Some side drafting going on there from Tanner Gray, who is in the 18 car. And I believe that is a Joe Gibbs Racing entry. Said 80 laps, now 76. No, I said 76 before. I think I said 200 miles, though. Which is pretty much, I mean, the scheduled distance is 202 miles if you want to get technical. Already seen some 3 wide. Didn't take long. Jason Kitzmiller in the 97 car on the outside of the 01. Ooh, big loose moment. 22 car on the outside behind Kitzmiller. That would be Amber Bolkin. They try to work their way forward. That's the only place it's 3 wide. It's not 3x3. That's what we saw in the early going of the Daytona season opener for ARCA, and they had a crash on lap 3. The big one came out very early. But a little bit more patient at the front of the field in this race, at least for the start. And those 2 cars who were on the outside lane of Tanner Gray and Tony Breidinger have really fallen back quite a bit now. It's a 6-car breakaway, all single file on the double yellow line, and the rest of the field running 2x2 behind them. Gray, who was leading the outside lane, has now jumped to the bottom. Bolkin still leading the outside. Almost a second off the race lead already. Finch with 1 win and 9 top 10 finishes in his 10 career ARCA Menards East Series starts. That win came at Dover a season ago. The 18-year-old has led the first 3 laps of this ARCA race here today, with Perez in 2nd, Wright in 3rd, Frankie Muniz up to 4th, and Christian Rose rounding out the top 5. Still some movement at the very back of the field. Some of those faster cars that didn't qualify particularly well are working their way up near the top 10. Amber Bolkin being one of which in the 22. Following behind Greg Van Olsen, the 35. It's a good driver to follow. Van Olsen on the outside right now. Jason Kitzmiller down on the bottom, not that far in front of these groups of cars. That first car group, I should say, is definitely breaking away. Tanner Gray kind of on his own when he got down to the bottom lane to lead this second group of cars. Pulled away from the second group, got enough of a draft off the lead group, so now it is a 7-car pack at the front of the field, and a little over a 1.5-second difference between the 7th and 8th place position on the racetrack of Tanner Gray in 7th, who is trailing that lead pack, and Gustine in the 55, the Daytona winner at the beginning of the season. And a lot of that is probably because they are 2x2 in the second group, and the front group of cars not only have speed, but are single file and staying tame. Dean getting bump drafted by Van Olsen as they try to get the outside lane going again. Dean is clear. Goes to the bottom lane in the middle of the corner now, controlling the line on the inside as he's got about a 2-car length gap built up. Going back and forth, controlling the lanes, but that's not going to help this pack try to catch up to the lead group of cars. Still obviously a long way to go. We know we're guaranteed a caution at some point, but very spaced apart in the early going of this race so far. 6 laps in. I don't know why it's not giving us the names on the leaderboard. You can see the car numbers on the left side. I'll refresh the page again. Hopefully it's something. Yeah, so there's something not right with ARCA's leaderboard, at least on their website right now. It's the only one I have to be able to give you guys any sort of a raw feed or a live leaderboard update. full screen commercial break right now on Fox Sports 1 in the early going of this race. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more NASCAR content. Whoa. I don't know what happened there. Now it only shows 3 cars on our list. I was about to at least go through the car numbers of the top 10 there. Oh, there we go. That's better. I don't know what that was. All right. Oh, jeez. It's about to go through it again. I don't know what's going up with this leaderboard. I thought NASCAR's website was off on their raw feed from time to time. This ARCA website. This is their home website too. It's got the 57 car out in front right now, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. I'll just wait for them to come back for the commercial break, and then I'll blow through the running order then. Because I do not trust this one bit right now. That's all I have for you guys, though, unfortunately. I don't think FS1's going to have anything. NASCAR 2311 Cup Series Racing, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. First of 2 races today at Talladega. Again, the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at 4 p.m. Eastern later on. That'll be a 300-mile, 113-lap event. Be sure to tune in for that. And our Cup Series action tomorrow will begin at 2:30 Eastern Time as well. Live right here on KRC. Yeah, it is supposed to be a relatively cool day at Talladega tomorrow, in the 50s. It's very cold for Alabama, I would imagine. Dan Bowers, welcome back. Gonna be wore out after today? Nah. I'll be good. We've had triple headers all season. This is the first. It won't be the last. And a second group of cars has slowly caught the lead pack at the front of the field while Jake Finch continues to lead Brad Perez, Chris Wright, Frankie Muniz, and Christian Rose in the top 5. Tony Breidinger is 6th. LeVar Scott 7th. Bryce Hogberg 8th. Jason Kitzmiller 9th. And speaking of Kitzmiller in 9th place, looked like there might have been some issue underneath the 97 car. He's very slow on the racetrack. A lot of smoke coming out from underneath, and I think Kitzmiller may have blown an engine. A lot of smoke to his pit box, and I think they will go under the hood. Yes, they will. Major issue for one of the front runners and contenders for the win today. Jason Kitzmiller running 9th, blows an engine on lap 9. Currently at lap 10, that moves Gus Dean to 9th place, and then Greg Van Olst now rounds out the top 10. Still under the hood. And they're getting the signal there that it doesn't look like it is going to be a good outcome here for Kitzmiller. Now, it looks like the 0 car pulled off the racetrack a couple laps into this race as well, but as far as the contenders go, Jason Kitzmiller's day will come to an early end.
Talked about the story that he hasn't been in a race car for 6 weeks, but on top of that, he was out in the jungle. No communication at all. Being his Hollywood self, he's known as an actor, Malcolm in the Middle, if you used to watch that show, but a race car driver at heart from day one.
Yeah, now he's communicating with Mark Red, his crew chief. They're really doing a nice job, and obviously this is a spotter. Stay in line, Frankie, right now. Just stay in line. You're in a good spot.
He goes from no communication to, oh my gosh, you're picking up a fire hose. The star of the show is back. What a great, I hope we can dial him up at some point today because he gives us such energy. He just loves it so much. You see last year, that top 5 finish he wanted so bad, finally got it done.
And that happened in Michigan, right? Right in Ford's back door, his huge supporters. So, Mama, what do you hear on Frankie down there?
Talking about Frankie Muniz. Guys, he lost 15 pounds while he was in the jungle.
I can't imagine he had 15 pounds to lose, but did you say he's eating grubs and snakes, Papa?
That's what he said. He said whatever he could find, he was trying to get some protein from.
Mama, your first pit report, and you're going to talk about snakes and slugs and what we're eating in the jungle now, grubs and everything else. But, man, I thought they had movie sets for that. You know, who knew they had to actually go into the jungle and lose 15 pounds and play
Where was
survival?
the catering? Where was the catering?
Right. I thought they were, man.
interesting. Well, he runs fourth right now. We talked about Gus Dean right there in the 55. He's making moves up to the 7th spot behind his teammate Tony Breidinger. They had a little run-in together. Tony was not happy with her teammate after Daytona. Some contact earlier, we're told, from Gus Dean.
Yeah, Gus brought this second pack up. Tanner was with the first pack. He saw Gus coming, moved out in front of him, and then Gus was going to make the way around, and a little bit of a late block by Tanner.
Well, your first instinct, he's running super speedways to know, hey, this is way too early for me to risk this. He obviously pulled back down and lost some track position, but he kept that race car in pace.
Heather.
Well, talking about Gus Dean, he told Jake Finch earlier today, actually, to not be afraid to race the Highline. And we've seen Gus up there trying to make that top line work for quite some time. But I want to go back to the mud truck you guys were talking about. He's actually picking up that brand new truck just after this race on Monday. And you said already that it has 2,500 horsepower, but it also burns 6.5 gallons of alcohol per minute. And Gus said, hey,
Dean. Gus, of course, the winner at Daytona. Maybe he used some of those winnings to get his old mud truck and pay for that alcohol.
And he is not content to ride in line here. Gus wants to be up front, and he wants to control this race.
And look who he has behind him, Greg Van Alst. Greg certainly a standout on these super speedway races. Meanwhile, Jake Finch continues to lead up front. Andres Perez, Chris Wright, Frankie Muniz, and Christian Rose, your top 5.
All right, so under a commercial break on Fox Sports 1 full screen for the second time today. Caution free through the first 13 laps of this race. 34 cars started. Mechanical failures of some sort. Unaware of exactly how many. Again, this leaderboard has been all sorts of all over the place. We had 30 on the pole of Jake Finch. Has led every lap so far. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you guys haven't done so. Again, the leaderboard doesn't show the names next to the car numbers, and the leaderboard's all over the place right now, too, because the 20's led every lap, and it keeps showing somebody ahead of him from time to time for some reason. So I'm not sure exactly why that's the case either, but hopefully it'll be working at some point throughout the course of the race today. If not, it's going to be tough for me to give the commentary based off of the leaderboard stats for this one. So you may end up listening to more of the actual race coverage on Fox Sports 1 so they keep you better organized with what's going on here. Again, this is not on NASCAR.com. This is on the ARCA Menards Series website, so just arcaracing.com. And we use this raw feed leaderboard for Daytona, and the only other ARCA Series race that we did this year, and even the last couple of years I've done the ARCA race at Daytona as well. Never had any issues with it, but here today having some issues. So again, I do want to apologize, and if you're wondering why that's the case, I can't fix it. Again, I'm not in charge of ARCA's website, but be sure to hit the subscribe button anyway. If you are just tuning in for the first time, we have live race commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for the NASCAR Truck Xfinity Cup Series race. But trucks were off, and there wasn't any cup practice on the super speedways either. It was just qualifying, so I figured, hey, why not do an ARCA race here today as well to fill in the void for the lost streams. So triple header. Got Xfinity Series action again coming up at 4 p.m. later, and the Cup Series race tomorrow at 2:30. Hope to see you then. We'll take a quick ad break, continue the live commentary coverage of the General Tire 200 at Talladega for the ARCA Menards Series. Yeah, Knoll is the name of the driver, I guess, for every car today.
Save big money at Menards. And by Bounty. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. Working lap number 17 of 76 here at Talladega Super Speedway. Jake Finch continues to lead. Andres Perez, Chris Wright, and you have Frankie Muniz in the 4th spot in the number 30. And we talked a lot about Gus Dean getting that big win at Daytona, but things really happened here for him back in 2016. Got his first career win. Look at how different the race cars look.
Still the same reason, though. They're all grouped up and pushing and spinning out at the end. It comes down to a late race caution, having to make this call for his first win. But Phil, you talked about him not being content to ride. And I think a lot of that comes from this fist pumping and burn it out that we see on the screen right now. When you have a chance to celebrate in victory lane here like Gus Dean, you get fired up and you come here to race and you think, hey, I can do this. But it just empowers you to make some aggressive moves on the racetrack. And we see that on Sunday. We see that Denny Hamlin, Ricky Stenhouse, they've had a lot of success on speedways, but they are the risk takers on the racetrack. Gus Dean has been that today. I've seen him push in the rear bumper of LeVar Scott. We've seen him drive up on the outside. This is honestly one of the first times I've seen him single file all day long.
Yeah, that was only his second ever ARCA start when he won here at Talladega. Went on to win another race, I believe, at Elko, Minnesota, and then Daytona a couple months ago was his third career win.
So far, so good for the super speedway racer.
Gus Dean
making a move. He's not content to hang back there. How about Amber Balkin, though, in the 22 making moves? She's been hooking up with different drivers, pushing her way, making up some spots, running in the 6th spot. Tony Breidinger in the 25. Her teammate, by the way, just one spot back.
All three of those cars, Breidinger, Dean, Scott, have worked together to get there. When we were on commercial break, they were actually all connected, and that's really hard to do in these ARCA cars. You have to be intentional, drag the brake to get back to the car behind you. I talked to Tanner Gray yesterday, and he said it's almost impossible to get to the car in front of you unless they drag the brake, which we know makes the whole group faster. So those three cars together have done a great job, made up a lot of track position, and inside the top 10 now.
And right now they're running side by side while the front 5 or 6 cars are in line. They're going to have to get that figured out and get back in line. We're hearing that the 6 of LeVar Scott had a close call with the 55 of Gus Dean as we ride along with Amber Balkin, the suit chief on board. You see that, right? That's the silver car. LeVar Scott in the middle going around the lap car. Took a little bit extra room. Gus didn't quite give him quite enough room. LeVar Scott did feel like that was a close call, but they're going to be fine.
Little rub in there. For those three, that was Con Nicolopoulos, easy for me to say in the 0.
Yeah, I was struggling with that name too.
And this is the time if you're a spotter, if you're in the middle of this pack and you want to try to make something happen, maybe try to learn something. Hey, can we make a move on the outside? Let's get with a couple other spotters and see if we can get more than just 2 cars. It's going to be really hard for 2 cars to make a move, but let's get 3 or 4 cars and see if we can make some sort of advancement on this 20 of Jake Finch.
Well, I know they're all single file, but 11 cars, that's quite a few more than what we saw at maybe Daytona where there were 6 or so in line. 11 cars, I think, is enough to pull out a line if you have a couple to go with you.
So as Jake Finch continues to lead, he's in that TV, starting on the front row later today for the Xfinity Series. But this was a nice honor for Jesse Love. Here at Talladega, you win a race, you get to have your face, your name on the board at the Talladega International Motorsports Hall of Fame. There's Ron Drager. I know it's sad to see these boys move up and leave this series, but it's great to see Jesse come back. He's sitting with Billy Venturini. Those two were so close, and of course, rooting for Jake Finch.
And that's already his 3rd championship. Remember, 2 ARCA West championships before he came east to run full-time in the ARCA series.
You can tell just how close these drivers become with their team, especially after the year that they had last year. He still comes back. He wants to hang out. He wants to help. He wants to give feedback to the next guy coming up.
I don't know, he thinks really highly of Bill Venturini, too, because he has, invested so much in him. He said when Jesse got there, he was a wreck, now he's built him up and helped him come along as a race car driver to win a championship.
Well, he hopes to be standing in victory lane with that young man right there, Jake Finch. He has led them all. Can he hang on?
All right, full screen commercial break again on FS1. Just over 20 laps in the books. Currently lap 23 of 76 for the General Tire 200 for the ARCA Menards Series. Single file racing so far. Finch has led every lap of this one. And from the pole position, of course, Brad Perez has been in second place, pretty much right behind him in that single file line of 11 cars now. It was 7 there for a little bit, and the second group of cars caught up to this lead pack. Then once they got single file again, only 11 were able to hold on in the lead draft, and everybody else from 12th on back has now fallen well off the race lead. Don't know the interval times in between the drivers, as the leaderboard is not showing that under the caution period or under the commercial break period right now. But we do know the 20 cars out in front, not the 98 on there. And apparently everybody's name on this list is Knoll. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I've refreshed it. I've logged out. I've logged back in. It's just an ARCA series mistake here of some sort with the live race leaderboard. So hopefully it gets fixed at some point. So apologize if that messes up with the viewing experience on your guys' behalf. But either way, we still got our usual live commentary side of things going here, flag to flag for this one. Again, be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you guys have not done so yet. Our goal is 50 likes for the stream, just as it was earlier today, and we are currently sitting at 24, so just one like shy of halfway. And we're already about a third of the way through this race, really. We're getting very close to the third of the way through this one, mark-wise. Yep, 52 laps to go already. Not a long race. Xfinity race later will be about 100 miles longer. It's still caution free. Haven't really seen that much side-by-side racing in this one, at least not with a whole pack side-by-side. Quite a few drivers leaving the draft. It's hard to tell exactly how many are on the lead lap as well. And here it shows that there's 24 cars on the lead lap of the 34 that started, but I don't know how accurate this is. We do know that the 97 of Jason Kitzmiller, who was one of the contenders for this one, blew an engine on lap 9. That's really the only notable thing that has happened in this race. He was up in that lead pack and unfortunately had to obviously drop out of that, and he has now dropped out of the race as well.
That was a very happy crew chief. Shannon Rush got the win with Jesse Love right here last year. What a moment it was. You see a lot of carnage here, but the elation of winning at a place like this means so much. Jake Finch continues to lead. Andres Perez, Chris Wright, Frankie Muniz in the 4th spot, and Christian Rose in the top 5. Christian Rose had told me he really has been studying Denny Hamlin, what he does, what he sees, and knowing when to back out, knowing when the energy is getting too much and when to back out. He said, I did that in Daytona and it worked. I avoided the big one. And that's just by doing your homework, listening to drivers and seeing what they're saying.
Yeah, I really like, I think Denny Hamlin is one of the very best that we had. This kind of, certainly good anywhere, but at this kind of racing, he really schools those people around him.
Chris Wright, keep mentioning his name. Nice and steady, been running 3rd since the start of the race. Just staying where he needs to, right?
Hey, he's got a great spotter up in the stand, a guy I get to work with every week. Ryan Blanchard's the spotter for John Nemechek. Said he was going to be fighting hard today. Chris Wright really wants to get that win here in the ARCA Series.
Chris has been announced as a full-time driver here, so he will be a contender for the championship in a very potent Venturini car.
Certainly wants that win, but you got to think big picture too. Like this guy, Christian Rose, he's just 5 points out of the lead right now. And I say it every time we race, and we talk about Christian Rose, but the paint scheme on that race car with all the trees from West Virginia, it's just absolutely beautiful.
Well, he's getting experience, right? This is he's had 4 starts in the ARCA Series at super speedways, has 1 top 5. So as you build confidence, as we talked about with Gustine, Christian Rose, ran that full-time schedule last year, finished 3rd in the points. He's building that confidence every week as well.
And there's Tony Briding. I mean, you can't go to a Raising Cane's anywhere in this country without seeing her face. I mean, they have these stand-up cardboard cutouts for her.
That's a great looking race car, by the way.
It's beautiful, and it's easy to see for us, up here in the booth, but she's just been doing a great job, Heather.
Absolutely. And one thing that she was really happy about was to get past lap 3 of this race. She was really nervous about the start, but now what she's going to be focused on is getting a super speedway race fully together in a good finish. Billy Venturini, I talked to him earlier, and he said we really need to see Tony dig herself out of this points hole and just get a good finish. They know she can do it. She's had flashes and moments of greatness, but now she just has to make it all come together.
She finished 9th at Phoenix last race, and of course, didn't have the finish she wanted or needed at Daytona. Bar Scott just behind him. Talked to him this morning, and I said, so who do you lean on? Who do you ask for, when you come to a new racetrack like this you've never been to before? And he's like, well, my teammates, Nick Sanchez last year, he's a great one. He's like, yeah, and I just texted Kyle Larson. I was like, wait, you talked to Kyle Larson about it here? He's like, oh, yeah, I texted him. He gives some advice. And I was like, what a good guy to have in the back pocket.
Yeah, it's not bad, and he's come a long way in his speedway racing. It's something he's had to work at over time, and so, as he's analyzed it, tried to study it, I'm sure he has a lot to give to LeVar.
Look at right in front of the number of those are the autism puzzle pieces. This is Autism Awareness Month. And Ryan Bell is the car chief for LeVar Scott in the 6 car. And his son Harvey is on the spectrum. I think Harvey's name is on the car, but they're honoring the son, and that's why the puzzle pieces are on that 6 car. They were really proud to be able to do that.
screen. Hey, Harvey. Hope he's watching.
Check out the roof flaps on these cars as we go through the field. Some are up higher than others. And that
Driver that's just looking for a good finish today. They've been teeter-tottering on whether or not they want to run a full season. So if they can put together a top 5, we might see them at more races. But one thing he did tell me that you guys are going to love, he's working on his Ricky Bobby impersonation. So he said if you get a chance to talk to him today, he'll show you what he's got.
Oh, jeez.
I already warned the guys.
always an entertainer.
He's ready. Well, Tanner Gray in the 18 for Joe Gibbs Racing, the only Joe Gibbs Racing entry. Talked to Tanner, and he's excited about these races. He'll do 6 this year, filling in for William Sawalich, who, by the way, is too young to run these big racetracks, but they were the race winners at Phoenix.
Yeah, Tanner did a really nice job at Texas in the truck last week. Remember, we had a 20-minute practice session, lost his primary truck early on, and came back with a top 10 finish with his backup truck.
And Gustine in the 55 will round out our top 10. We'll get deeper in the field. Keep it right here. Watching ARCA Menards series.
There's a 15-second gap between 9th and 11th on the leaderboard, and I think Gustine has just lost this lead draft as well. He was at the tail end of it there for a while, and now he's about 2 seconds behind it as well. So only 9 cars in the lead pack, single file. There are only 19 cars on the lead lap in general. Kind of a snooze fest here for this ARCA Menards Series race so far. We are guaranteed a caution at the halfway mark, or just shy of the halfway mark, I guess technically. Lap 38. No, yeah, that is halfway. So lap 38, we are going to get a caution. We'll see where we can go from there. That will be the opportunity for these teams to make their lone adjustments of the race, change tires, and top off on fuel, and they'll be good to go from there to the end. Western Civilization, thanks for tuning in. Looks like he's pulling for Cody Dennison as well. A couple people in the chat here pulling for Cody. See if he can get it done here today. I don't know that he is on the lead lap. I think he is. Yeah, he's one of the cars a lap down, it looks like, in 21st. Everybody's going to have to pit, so you're not going to be able to take the wave around. And we had a couple cautions in the season opener at Daytona before the halfway mark at lap 40 in that one, but lap 38, the halfway mark in today's race, and we haven't had a caution. So it's allowed for a lot of those drivers in the back half of the field that don't have the pace to keep up with the lead pack that have gone a lap down up to this point. The driver who will be a first car 1 lap down will get the free pass to get back on the lead lap. So it may be a battle for 20th as of right now. But although considering I saw some drivers over 40 seconds off the race leaders, I would imagine that they will end up going a lap down still before the end of the stage. So we could only see about 15 cars in the lead lap through the first half of this race at Talladega. 51.5 second lap times right around there for the drivers in this lead pack in the top 9. And then everybody else that is in that second group looks to be about a second or so slower a lap, which is why they have lost as much ground as they have. Robbie Crawford, thanks for tuning in. Gold no go. Yeah, I don't know why it shows that on our leaderboard, but it does. It's interesting as to why that is.
For the biggest thrill ride of the year. The pre-show kicks things off at 2 Eastern, and the green flag waves at 3 Eastern. That's tomorrow on Fox. They had qualifying nice and early this morning. And we keep talking about Daytona and where these drivers finish. There's your top 10 right there. Some new names up there, some young drivers, some veterans. Had a nice mix.
Yeah, 18-year-old Thomas Annunziato. I mean, he's a winner in the Trans Am Series. He won at Coda in the Trans Am Series a couple years ago, top 10 in points there. But really did a nice job in Jeff McCool's number 44 car.
Not a bad debut, is it, Phil?
Yeah, talk to Thomas Annunziata. He's our Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver, and for good reason. You just mentioned it. He runs in that TA2 class. Talk to him, and he's only 18 years old. Didn't start really racing until 11. Didn't take it seriously until 14. So he's really behind the guys he's been competing with. So a quick learner, obviously, but he's doing a handful of races here, and his goal is to get to Sundays and Cup.
Yeah, we're starting to see this more and more where you have this crossover of road racing and Trans Am type cars and oval racing at the same time, just for the pure fact that our Cup schedule now has so many road courses involved, and they know those are opportunity races. So really interesting to see the development of these young drivers and the path they're taking now.
And it's not the road racers coming stock car racing. It's a lot of the stock car racing going the other way, too, to get that experience you're talking about, Trevor.
Thomas Annunziata back in the 15th spot in the 44. He's a 3-time national karting champion, so that's really where his love for it began, and he realized stock cars could be fun. So here he is.
There's Gus Dean leading in the second pack. These drivers now are a little bit. Now that's actually lap cars that are running right now with Gus Dean. We're very close to the break where we'll have modified line pit stops, and what that means is strategy is out the window. We talked about people short pitting maybe once they get in their window around 25 laps, but with no cautions, that didn't give anyone the opportunity to do that. So this race is playing right into the hands of somebody like Jake Finch. He knows he's not going to have the field jumbled up, because when they come down pit road for the modified line pit stops, they will retain their positions, and he knows that he will come out with a lead if he can hold on to it till we get to that break.
Yeah, Jake Finch is saying this is easy right now. What's Talladega? I'll just get up here and lead all the laps. But, you know, Gus Dean and Amber Balkan, they both lost the draft that lead pack by trying to make some passes. But, yeah, Mama Smith, what you got down there on pit road?
Yeah, guys, they are getting ready down here to get down pit road. The 32 car of Christian Rose is running fifth right now. He is second in points. They're really watching how this race unfolds. They don't want to get in trouble. Make sure they have a car to end the race.
We mentioned Ryan Roulette earlier in the 12 car. We talked about there's 39 laps to go. This race is flying by. I don't even want to say it, Phil, but
Don't jinx it,
zero
Jamie.
cautions.
You shouldn't have said it. What are you
I
doing?
know, the announcer jinx. It's going to up the intensity, I have a feeling. This racetrack is so interesting where the start-finish line is. It's not where you typically see it, is it?
It's not. And it messes with your timing. When you want to make that final run coming to the checker flag, it's a lot later.
Should be right there.
That's right. That's where it would be at Daytona, so you need to make your move off of 4.
But wait, there's more.
It just keeps on going.
And I don't know how many times that we've had a winner at the start-finish line that would not have been the winner if the start-finish line would have been in the traditional location in the center of the trial.
And it's hard to really grasp that until you're here in person and you walk down, you see how close it is to turn 1. It's just an interesting location for that start-finish line. So Jake Finch is just continues to lead, a lot like Daytona. He's led every lap so far, all 38. You have Andres Perez been following right behind him on his bumper. Haven't had a lot of movement up there in the top 6, 7.
Well, and I can tell you right now, Andres Perez does not want to be in second at the end of this race. He's finished second twice in his career. He still wants that first win. He's driving the 2 car. I don't know what kind of 2 jinx we got going on there, but man, he's come so close. And he was one of those drivers at Daytona running second in that last lap crash.
All right, the caution is out. This is the break. We'll have modified live stops. They can come down, make adjustments, take tires. We'll bring that to you coming up next.
All right, our first caution of the day is the Comp Yellow at lap 38 at the halfway mark here in this one. 38 laps complete, technically lap 39 right now, but anyway, despite the fact that we've had a lack of action in this one, be sure to hit the like button on the stream. Helps these streams out, helps the channel out a ton, and subscribe for more NASCAR content as well. Our goal is to get to 50 likes on this stream here today, and we're currently at 26 at the halfway mark. So we're about halfway to our likes marker, and we are halfway through this race. So we'll see how much action we'll see in the second half of this one. And again, the pit stops are not going to be competitive. So the order in which the field was at the time of this competition caution will be the order in which they will restart. And this is due to the fact that these ARCA teams don't have a lot of crew members at the track every weekend. So no live pit stops, at least to be able to top off on fuel to make it to the end here, as well as change tires. Deegan in third? No. You got the wrong 15 car. That would be in the Xfinity series. She is not in the field today. And I don't even know that the 15's in third at this point. I think so, but It's hard to tell with the way our leaderboard keeps jumping up and down all over the place. We'll take another ad break, and then you'll get to listen to the pit reports here during our lone pit stop of this ARCA race at Talladega. You're listening live to the General Tire 200 on KRC. Deegan did finish second at Daytona in her ARCA debut. What year was that? I can't remember. Was that 2018? 2019, somewhere around there? One of those years. Maybe it was even 2020. I don't think so. I feel like it was, I think she was in the Truck Series, and I'm going to say it was probably 2019, if I had to guess. So once again, 4 p.m. later today, the Xfinity Series race at Talladega. I can promise you that's going to be a whole heck of a lot more interesting than the race that has gone on so far here today. It has been a train race of not even the full field. It's about 10 cars in the lead pack, 9 to 10. They're able to stay up there. And like I mentioned, the only main story of this thing is Jason Kitzmiller blowing an engine right around lap 9 in the lead pack. But everything else has been very tame.
Take your time. Mamba, they're coming your way.
Yeah, they are. The 30 of Frankie Muniz doing a really good job right now, coming back for his first run in the ARCA Menards Series. Running fourth, has had trouble keeping the car on the bottom of the racetrack. A little tight off, but he's feeling really good about the balance. Also, Ride Roulette in the 12 car. Call sign Gamble has 3 bets from BMW going over the wall from Hoban Scalaner, Wyatt Hunt, and Julia Price. Heather?
And for Jake Finch in the 20, we've seen him lead all the laps so far, 40 total. He's very happy with the car, said balance is good. Shannon told me no changes here, but he did ask his spotter, Tyler Mon, how is my line? And Tyler said, you're doing really great. Just work on 3. You're floating up just a little bit too much. But then we'll move down pit road a little further to Andres Perez in that number 2. Again, another happy race car driver. No changes for him. He just told me that coming into these super speedway races, they've always put themselves in the position to win. They just needed to go their way for once. So they're hoping a little luck on their side for the 2, Jamie.
Thank you, Heather. And it was interesting when Mamba was giving the report on Frankie Muniz. You saw an ARCA official waving their arms, and I believe that's because they hadn't said it was okay to go over the wall, Mamba.
Yeah, it looks like they went over the wall early, and then they also had trouble getting the left side up. They're putting adjustments through it now. Sunoco fuel, and they're going to send them back on the way. So we'll see what happens after this.
And that is the difference here. You have to wait for the ARCA officials to give the go. You can work on your car. You have to wait to give the go to go back out to the track. We'll be back.
Down to 35 laps to go, and this one, again, the only caution of the race so far is this break at the halfway mark for the competition caution, which was already scheduled. Well, it's definitely going to tighten the field up, but I think we still only have around 15 cars on the lead lap. I'll get the exact number once I get back to racing, and we'll try logging out and logging back in again. Refreshing the page here a little bit, see if that helps. It hasn't so far. Definitely an issue with this website, arcaracing.com. This is worse than any issues we've had with the raw feed on the NASCAR streams. Hope there will be no crashes. So far, there hasn't been. I would hope that that would stay the same, but especially you consider the fact there's only 15 cars on the lead lap right now. If we get a big one at the front of the field, there are not going to be many cars on the lead lap to battle it out for the win at the end of this thing. Yeah, with the lack of pit stops in ARCA, there's just not even an ability to try to get off strategy with a wave around, especially if it's staying green in the first half of the race like it did. So again, the leaderboard not accurate as of right now, everybody that hit pit road, which is pretty much the entire field because nobody has pitted yet under green flag conditions. But the order in which the field was in when the caution came out is the order in which they will restart. No competitive pit stops in ARCA. If anybody would have chose to stay out, they would have ended up taking the race lead. But again, because there has not been an ability to fuel any race cars underneath the caution so far, the leaderboard will remain the same.
And the Dodgers. Coverage begins today at 3 Eastern on FS1. We've also got the Xfinity Series race coming up later. That's on Fox. And we've got the Cup race tomorrow. Well, the Reese's Sweet Move. We've got a nominee, actually one of them. I think we'll call it straight up. How about this? Tanner Gray.
Yeah, he's in the blue
Ooh.
car, and he's the 55 Augustine's going to try to pull out Megan Greenway, which he inevitably did, but Tanner was wanting to block that move, and a little bit of a late block. They made a little contact, but fortunately they were all able to continue.
Yeah, you can visit arcaracing.com on Monday at 3 Eastern to see who is crowned Reese's Sweet Move of the race. And definitely the front runner so far.
Scott Melton, the 69 car, was able to get the free pass. He was the lead car one lap down.
Who likes bananas?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude is eating a banana.
The truck broadcast said he liked bananas. I don't know. We were like, "What's your pre-race meal?" He said, "Found out I like bananas." So
I like bananas, but they've got to be a little bit underripe. That thing is a little overripe. Look, he sticks it right back in the cup.
He's going to save
What?
He's going to save it for in case there's another caution.
That's right. He is ready for it. She's ready for it. I think she's a Ross Chastain fan. Is he looking for another snack? We'll go back to green shortly.
Andy Jankowiak, my oh my. Eating a banana under caution. I don't think that's safe. I don't think it would be a safe situation after eating minutes before. So hopefully everything is going to go okay for him. He's definitely one of the wild characters of probably the wild character, I guess, of the ARCA series. I remember his interview that we listened to live during the Daytona broadcast earlier this year. He's up in contention for the end, and they asked him how he was going to win the race because I think he was on the front row for that final restart. And he said that he was gonna stand on the gas and he wasn't gonna lift until he saw God or the checkered flag. That quote has stuck with me to this day. We are now about 4 months since that has happened. And I can remember that word for word, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about, whether you were listening live when we had that ARCA race stream back at Daytona, or maybe have seen any sort of other social media clip from it, but it was hilarious in the moment. Still hilarious to this day, and that same guy is eating a banana under caution at Talladega right now. It gives us something to talk about, I guess, as of what has happened so far in this race. Again, we have just about 30 laps to go in this one. They should be going green very shortly. Eating some combos under caution. Yeah, so speaking of which, the last time I had combos was when I was going to Bristol last year. Traveling, stopped at a gas station, wanted something to eat snack-wise, so got some combos because I was like, oh, I haven't had these since I was like a kid, essentially. It had been a long time, and I always remembered like liking them. And then when I was eating them, I'm like, oh, they feel like they were overrated. I don't know why I didn't get the same nostalgia hit, I guess, eating them as I thought I was going to or something. I don't know. But yeah, combos used to be like one of my favorites growing up, and then had it for the first time in a long time last fall, end of summer. And yeah, I don't know. I ate the rest of them. I got like a family size. I was regretting getting a family size bag of them from the gas station because I kind of didn't want the rest of them, but at least I had something. The Buffalo blue cheese ones are the bomb. I don't think I've had those. I just bought the regular ones, the pepperoni cheese pizza one. I think that's the regular one. Maybe just the regular cheese one is the regular. I mean, they weren't bad. Like, I didn't dislike them. I just didn't like them as much as I thought I would, or like I remembered liking them.
Is another Reese's Sweet Move that has nothing to do with competition.
Oh, jeez.
He's just battling his banana.
He's going to peel a banana. And then he's going to...
With his gloves on.
What Trevor said, he's had bananas
Look at that.
in the car, but he's always had somebody else peel it.
But watch this. How is this going to work?
Well, he had a bit of a challenge getting that first.
That's why he always wears a bandana. It's a catch-all.
Look, he tucked the banana peel in the door pad. He's going to smell like banana bread up in there. I guess he didn't want to spin anybody out when he got done.
He's a pizza delivery guy. Heather, what's happening with the 6?
Well, as you can see here, the tow truck giving him a push. The car just shut off on him. They told him to try to recycle the engine and get it started, but it will not fire. So a tough break here for LeVar Scott.
Really tough break. Been running top 10 all race long, and then something random after your first pit stop.
Yeah, all these engines are Elmore engines, ARCA 396 engines, and they're fuel injected, and their alternators are a bit suspect at times. There's so many things that they try to fans and stuff they run. See him take a look at Danny Johnson as crew chief right now, but I would say it's more than likely electrical.
So we'll stay under caution while they get LeVar Scott pushed back to pit road, but this will be the restart right there. Andres Perez, Jake Finch.
So even less laps to go, and they go green. A lengthy caution here. They were going to go green that last time by, but then LeVar Scott stalled out in the middle of turns 1 and 2, so they had to push him back to pit road. That was one of the few cars that were still on the lead lap at the end of the first half of the race before this competition caution. To the ARCA Menards General Tire 200 at the Talladega Super Speedway. About 31 or so laps to go in this one. We'll take an ad break, continue the live commentary coverage on the other side. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more NASCAR content if you haven't already. We're at 30 likes right now. Our goal is to get to 50, so we're 20 likes away from that. And we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers on the channels. We just hit 5,000 last weekend during the NASCAR race weekend at Texas. We actually hit it during the Xfinity Series race broadcast on Saturday, so it's been a full week now. Had a full week of finally getting to that 5,000 subscriber threshold, so we're on the race to get to 10K. And I also want to thank everybody as we had our most viewed stream of the season last week as well with the Cup Series race at Texas. Not the most liked stream of the season necessarily. We were close to the like gold number. We were 7 away. We had 170, 177 would have tied. But it was the most viewed live commentary stream of the year. So again, greatly appreciate everybody that comes in and tunes in for these live streams every NASCAR race weekend. We usually don't do ARCA, but we do have live commentary for every Truck Xfinity Cup race as well as Cup qualifying and practice. We had the Geico 500 qualifying live stream already today, which took place at 10:30 a.m. this morning. And then obviously the ARCA race now, Xfinity coming up later at 4 p.m. And we still got a Cup race tomorrow at 2:30. So we're only going to be halfway through our streaming schedule for the week once this race concludes here at another 30 laps or so.
Brought to you by General Tire. General Tire delivers the freedom to explore. And by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's, not sorry.
Not sorry.
All right, 30 laps to go here at Talladega Super Speedway. Jake Finch has led all 46 laps so far. Andres Perez has remained in that second spot. Chris Wright, Frankie Muniz. All right, Trevor, you talked about the importance of restarts at the top of this show. This is the first time we're going to see it.
It is, and thankfully for Jake Finch, he's got a teammate in his mirror. He's hoping he gets a great restart. This is one of those situations where you might see his hand out the window. He might give a little motion when he's going to go to the gas to let his teammate know. But for Andres Perez, this is his opportunity.
Yeah, so critical for Jake Finch. As at the initial start of the race, we talked about the same thing with the 18 of Tanner Gray and Jake Finch. He's got a good teammate behind him in Chris Wright, who has a lot of experience. Andres has Frankie Muniz right behind him. But look at the third and fourth in line. Those are Venturini cars. Will they maybe try to take the advantage of this restart and jump to the outside, make them 3 wide early on?
They might do. There's actually 3 Venturini cars in a row there on that outside lane. And Gustine, we know that he's been aggressive. He might try to go top of 3, if anything else.
You see LeVar Scott on pit road. That is the teammate to the man in second, Andres Perez. So he has lost his dancing partner for now.
All right, green flag back in the air. 29 laps to go at Talladega in the General Tire 200. Jake Finch, who's led every lap so far, leads the field to the green on the inside of row 1. And Andres Perez, who's been in second for most of the race right behind him, is going to be on the outside with Frankie Muniz pushing him. The 15 of Chris Wright down on the bottom trying to help his teammate out. The 20. They stay nose to tail, but not pushing each other through the middle of turns 1 and 2. Give him a little tap in the center of 1 and 2 now as he tries to break forward. And finally, Finch is clear off the exit of turn 2. 3 cars on the outside lane. A little bit of a gap and then 2 more. A lot more cars down to the bottom, just as we saw at the initial start of the race, where a lot of cars drop from the top lane to the bottom as soon as they can, and that hangs out the 2 cars, the 3 cars or so that try to hang out on the outside as long as they can until they fall to the back of this line. Tony Breidinger moves down to the bottom behind Amber Bulkin. The 2 and the 30 still moving backwards. Muniz now down to the inside. And Perez, who started outside of the front row in second for this restart, is now quickly fallen to the back half of the top 10 and maybe falling out of the top 10 as more cars continue to pass 3 wide in the middle of the trioval further back. And very quickly, they get to single file about a full lap, the entire field, nose to tail around the bottom of the racetrack. Jake Finch leads, Chris Wright is second, Christian Rose third, Andy Jankowiak in fourth, and Tanner Gray rounds out the top 5, Gus Dean at 6th, Amber Bulkin 7th, Tony Breidinger 8th, Frankie Muniz 9th, and Eric Costner rounds out the top 10. Still no cautions for incident in this race. And how much more calm, I should say, will it stay to the end, knowing that we are running out of laps here, 27 to go this time by. 15 cars on the lead lap, still battling it out for the win.
The most energy in that pack, and this is a time to make a move to midfield. You're never going to have this much help again in the race unless there's a late race restart, but you can't count on that. This thing can go green to the end, so if I'm 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe Tanner Gray on back, I'm looking to pull out a line here and maybe make that move. I know it's early, but your opportunities may go away as this singles out more and more.
Yeah, I don't think you want to wait till the very end of the race, even though there's less to lose, because if it doesn't work, then you have time. You catch another caution down the road, maybe to get back. But I think we need to see if they're going to be able to do something. How many cars is it going to take to make a move?
It will take a lot of organization.
3 or 4 car links to Tony Breidinger.
Saw Amber Bulkin get a little loose off the turn 4 there and go down below the double yellow line.
Really critical to stay next to that double yellow line. If you move up a half a car width, someone's going to try to fill that hole. Can advance your position by going below that double yellow line.
We talked about Drake Van Alst and having that damage, came down pit road for a second time. He's back there in the 14th spot. And what I love about this style of racing, you can't count him out. He's got to be back there working. You know, everybody that's with him wants to be around and work together to give that energy to go forward, right, Heather?
Absolutely. And Jamie, he had to come back down pit road because they had damage to that front valence. So they got some more material to put on the front. They also had to tape it down. They told him, you're going to feel it flapping, but don't worry about that. But one thing he has on his side is he's trying to make his way back through the field. It's Brandon Lyons, is his spotter, who spots for William Byron in the Cup Series. So he has a good person up on top of that spotter stand helping him out to find those runs.
You know, and Heather, the last time we were here with the Truck Series in the fall, Greg Van Alst was behind the wheel of a truck, had a huge wreck. Let's take a look back at what happened. Truck spin around. You see him highlighted right there, hard into that outside wall. Right there.
Actually broke his back, and he said it was about a 12-week recovery. He said the doctors were spot on. Told him it was going to be about 12 weeks, and that's what it took.
I have a weak stomach when it comes to stuff, but he did send me his x-ray. His tailbone was completely bent in half.
Hey!
So he waited, like you said, 12 weeks to get back in.
You don't want to sit in a race seat with that, I'll tell you that.
No, you race car drivers are nuts. You just jump back in like it's nothing.
I bruised my tailbone one time playing hockey, and I'm telling you, it was painful, just a bruise.
So 24 laps to go here. Jake Finch continues to lead. Andy J has made some moves. He's up to the 4th spot. It was that banana power, I tell you.
That's what he took.
Tanner Gray holding steady in the lone Joe Gibbs Racing machine. And I love the rivalry that we see between Joe Gibbs Racing and then Venturini. But Venturini, when you have 5 versus 1.
The odds are a little stacked against him here. But how about Andres Perez running second that whole time, the first half of this race? And then on that restart, we saw him get shuffled out. Now he's lost that lead pack. So that just shows you, no matter how good your car is, you got to get organized early.
Trying to work together. You see Sean Core, that 8 car. Sean's a good racer on these type of racetracks. Had a 5th place finisher last year. He's leading Greg Van Alst on the outside.
Greg Van Alst trying to form him up to reach that front pack here at Talladega.
23 laps to go in the ARCA Menards General Tire 200 at the Talladega Super Speedway. Be sure to hit that like button on the stream. If you guys haven't done so, subscribe for more NASCAR content. We are running down to the finish of this one. Still no cautions for incident. The only yellow was at lap 38, the comp caution, which we were expected to have at the halfway mark because of no live pit stops in ARCA racing. So here we are. Jake Finch has led every lap of this race from the pole. It has been a pretty much single file train race the entire time. You get a few laps after a restart, it kind of breaks apart to about an 11 or less car pack at the front of the field. That's what we have right now. Only 15 of those cars are on the lead lap, and we haven't had really any DNFs, very few mechanical failures that have knocked somebody out of the race today, so still roughly 30 cars who started are still in this thing. But again, less than half of those are on the lead lap. And Jake Finch in the 20 car, again, leads the way here at the Talladega Super Speedway. Once again, be sure to hit that like button so we can get to our goal of 50 likes on the stream. 32 likes is where we're at right now, so we're 18 likes away. Running out of laps here in this one. Again, down to about 23 laps to go. They work their way back from the commercial break. I'll let you listen into more of the race coverage again here. Been able to listen to more of the actual broadcast of this one compared to usual, and that's because our leaderboard on arcaracing.com is obviously not running very well, and because I don't really know the names of a lot of the drivers in the ARCA series, I couldn't really do much for you guys with the commentary side of things, so I'm leaving the leaderboard up for you guys, at least so there's something when it is accurate from time to time. It isn't every lap as of right now. Obviously, it isn't because 20 cars in the lead. There you go. Now 20's back on top. At least on our leaderboard, continues to be in the race.
It doesn't get much better than the infield at Talladega Super Speedway. So much going on. I mean, look at this. It is just its own town that is created all week long. These people come out year after year. Talladega Boulevard.
They name a boulevard after it.
You know, I don't need to go because we have Clint Boyer. He just goes, he reports back the next day.
He's our representative. He's our representative.
That's who you want to send as your representative, Bill?
Yes.
He's a representative of all of us. We are fun. Just kidding. I was in bed at 9 o'clock. Boyer and his buddies were out there. Oh, look at this. The Ritz.
Yeah.
It's an expensive pick.
High class.
Ritz there.
High class.
You see it all in the infield. I mean, the setups that they come up with. And the neighbors. You know, you get to know your neighbors, so then you come back with your families, not kids too young.
Notice
what
how
a great
quick.
place to get.
Notice how quick that these drivers on the lead lap will move down behind the lap cars to try to get that extra pull. And watch how quickly they move back to the inside. There's Gus Dean, Andrew Malkin, Tony Bradshaw. How quickly they get back in line.
Been talking about Christian Rose in the 32, Mama. What are you hearing?
Yeah, guys, it might be hard to tell, but Christian Rose has just been riding, doing a great job running this 32 AM team into the top 5 all day long. His crew chief, Brian London, or Pickle as they call him in the garage, told him, hey, bud, it's about 20 to go. It's time to go get him. Watch this 32 move to the front.
Such a nice man. We talked about he was a D1 baseball player, but he always wanted to go racing. And next week, his worlds collide. We're going to Dover. That's the next race. He said that is about as close as you can get to a home race. He used to play baseball across the street, take off his jersey, come back over to the racetrack, and just watch the Cup cars.
He really did a nice job. He was 5th at our break, and he parlayed that inside line restart position to move up a couple spots into third when Andres Perez and Frankie Muniz started on the outside and lost ground.
Yeah, they built a nice team over there around him. AM Racing, he told me he gets to go to the simulator, but in this series you don't get to get in it. So he goes with Haley Deegan. She does the sim. He listens to her feedback. She's been great just helping him what to expect when you come to these places. He said it's been a good team.
That's commitment right there, Jamie. It's hard enough to get a driver to go to sim, just to drive. So to go to watch and take notes, that says a lot about how bad he wants to do this.
Doing whatever it takes. Ryan Roulette currently running 20th. He's kind of been up and down, shuffled around a little bit today. 18 laps to go. They're just ticking away. Don't blink. These races go by fast. Jake Finch right there. Perfect job today. Has done everything right. Has not given up the lead one time. Chris Wright, his teammates, been right there. Christian Rose, Andy Jankowiak, Tanner Gray. Gus Dean back there in the 6th spot. The winner from Daytona. Tony Breidinger, Amber Balkin right there, been running top 10 all day.
That line of 7 cars or whatever it is not going to look like the rest of this race. Somebody is going to make a move. They're going to get together and try to gang up on those cars up front.
Well, we see that happen time and time again where they try to make that move and they pull out a line and nobody goes with them, and that's so frustrating. So I'm hopeful there's some grandstand politics going on up there for the spotters where they're saying, hey, I'll buy you a Reese's cup here later if you go with us.
It might not work, but somebody's going to try it.
So this is the second group we were talking about. We just jumped off a bit, but Greg Van Alst is in that second group. They start back there with Sean Corr in the 8th and 10th, and they've got about a 6-car pack right now, building that momentum.
They're going to gain Frankie Muniz, too, because Frankie lost that draft. He was on the tail end. He hung in there for a while. But once you really lose that draft, then you lose seconds a lap. He now finds himself over 7 seconds behind where he was right with them about 3 or 4 laps ago.
Yeah, 2 or 3 laps. That much time, Phil. It's so much.
Okay, so how does he handle this? Obviously, he's falling back, doesn't have any help, but they're coming with a full head of steam.
Well, right here, you're going to try to block that run as much as you can or try to break it up and get in line to save your own track position at this point. But, that's going to be really tough for him to do. You're probably going to be on the outside and then give them the bottom and pull down behind them, honestly, is the best way to keep it going.
Because he's going to have so much less momentum than they will. It's going to be almost impossible to block that. They'll have to slam on the brakes to keep from passing him if he blocks them.
Riding on board with Amber Balkin, Tony Breidinger right behind her. Teammates both running full-time this year. So much fun watching these women and how much they have been improving year after year. 15 laps to go. Jake Finch wants to win for the first time.
Jake Finch may go wire to wire and win this race. He has led every lap so far. It has been single file since about lap 3, and then within the first lap of the restart after the comp yellow at lap 38, it has been single file ever since. So again, Jake Finch in the number 20 car for Venturini Motorsports is leading the way, and he's got a teammate in second place right behind him in the number 15. That being, I don't have the names up here. It's in the truck series. Oh, geez. I don't have the names. Full time, I do believe. You guys will have to help me. Christian Rose is third. Andy Jankowiak is in fourth. Also in contention up at the front of the field. Noel. Yeah, that's right. It's Noel. Yeah, right here. Noel. Patient _6. Thanks for tuning in. I know a couple of people were pulling for the 01. I think I just saw he was in 17th because of only that one caution, and that was for the comp yellow. Otherwise, we didn't have the comp yellow. They'd probably only have like less than 10 to go already. Definitely a quicker race pace, and that was even with the lengthy caution after LeVar Scott had stalled out in the middle of turns 1 and 2. We'll take our final ad break of the stream then, and then continue the live commentary coverage on the other side. You're listening on KRC to the ARCA Menards General Tire 200 at Talladega. And also hit that like button if you guys haven't done so yet. We're 10 likes away from our goal. We're at 40 right now. The goal is to get to 50. So again, 50 likes is the goal. Going to be an interesting battle at the front of the field. You'd have to imagine somebody's going to pull out to make a move. It's just a matter of when. And honestly, I don't see it happening until we get down to a few laps to go. And with only 8 cars in this lead pack now, is the momentum even going to be there from a driver third or fourth in line with only a couple of them behind him to try to make the charge to the front? I don't think it's going to happen. You got a couple of them trying to make a move. It looks like from third. No, never mind. That's the leader getting around the lap cars. Lap traffic in play. 3 cars in line. Not going to break this lead pack up. It is now just 6 drivers in the lead pack as Amber Balkin and Tony Breidinger have fallen off. So just 6 cars within 0.6 of a second of each other at the front of the field. Lap cars mixed into this lead pack for right now. And the 6 drivers are Jake Finch, Chris Wright, Chris Wright is in the 15, by the way. Christian Rose in 3rd, Andy Jankowiak 4th, Tanner Gray 5th, and Gus Dean in 6th. Those are the 6 that are going to be battling out for the win if it stays green to the checkered flag. And now with the 55 and the 18 running side by side with one another, side drafting down the back straightaway, they couldn't get organized after getting by the 3 lap cars. And the 4 cars that are single file now are going to have even less numbers to try to keep up and go for the win. I think by the time Gray was able to get down to the bottom and separate from Gus Dean, it's going to be interesting if they can catch the back of this pack. And if they do, will they have a head of steam to try to make any passes? Again, 10 laps to go in this race. Finch, Wright, Rose, Jankowiak, Tanner Gray, and Dean are the 6 in contention for the win. Balkin over 4 seconds off the lead in 7th. Breidinger 7 seconds back in 8th. And then Sean Corr in 9th is 13 seconds off the lead. There's a 5-car pack, 9th through 13th in the running order with Corr, Van Alls, Perez, Muniz, and Annunziato. Nine laps to go at the line for Finch, who has led every lap so far.
I was watching before we went to this in-car here, and he was actually making some ground back up. They did catch some traffic.
There we go.
They're
There
back
we go.
to the group. So they're in this now.
Gustine can thank him for bringing him back to this group.
Nice push into the group. So 6 cars there. And they're forming up in that second group with Greg Van Alst, Sean Corr, Tony Breidinger.
Seeing that they didn't lose the draft there, Phil, it encourages me to make those, try that. Heather, what are they saying in the 18? Are they ready to make a move down there?
Well, they're trying to. The name of the game for them today was for them to try to make friends because they really don't have any, especially when they're up against that 5-car team of Venturini Motorsports. But believe it or not, the 18 car has never had a super speedway win. The closest they've come was with Riley Herbst right here at Talladega when he finished 2nd, and last year with Connor Mosak in 2023 at Daytona. So they're looking for a real good run here. Also, Tanner Gray, he's wanting to be the guy to get it done, is what he told me today earlier.
Yeah, that's surprising to think that Gibbs hasn't won, but Venturini has 3 wins here. They won in 20, 21, 23, and today have just dominated.
I think the closest team that they have to be a teammate for the 18 of Tanner Gray is Andy Jankowiak, who was right in front of him. I know I was talking to Matt Ross, the crew chief for Tanner Gray, and he said, hey, let me get with the 73. We're going to try to go in together and run a little bit together when they had that very limited practice session. So I think he's right where he needs to be. I'm sure they would like to be a little closer to the front, but he's with the guy he wants to be with right now. And it may come when they go around a lap car, because that's when the field gets jumbled up a little bit.
So here's the first group that we've been talking about, 6 cars. We're going to pull out here. See the second group and how much farther back. We've got
they're out of it.
Amber Balkin, Tony Breidinger.
Yeah, they're out of it right now unless we get a caution flag. No way for them to catch up.
I mean, they did a nice job organizing, getting as many cars involved as possible.
And that's ideal. That's the job that Jake. Whoa, look at that with the movement there, passing a lap car. You see people get jumbled up. But back to my point, Jake Finch has done a great job of just staying on the bottom, keeping them singled out. We see this on Sundays where leaders just want to ride and get it down to as few people as possible at the end of this race that are going to be trying to come up there and pass it.
But you have to remember, even though Chris Wright is behind him, watch as they go around this lap car. Look how quickly they try to clear that lap car and get in line.
As a pick as well.
Christian Rose kind of had to move Andy Jankowiak down below the double yellow. Problem maybe, did they make contact?
Andy J been running top 7, top 8 all day.
Grabbing switches, got the engine.
Recycling the engine, it seems like.
Still running, but doesn't sound much power.
No power.
See if anything happens here noticeable.
Just see how it slows down right there. He's losing power right there. Really fortunate that Tanner was on the ball there and didn't turn him around.
Heads up driving by Tanner Gray. So Andy J off the pace. Heather, what are they saying?
Well, right now I just heard Andy J come over the radio and say
Didn't get the car full of fuel.
Daytona, the one that said, I'm going for it. I'm going to see the checkered flag or God. And
I'm not sure he's going to make it back to pit road.
I don't think so either.
About turn 3, but that's a long ways to make it all the way around 3 and 4 to pit road.
He's limping his way around. 5 laps to go.
Still, Jake Finch is screaming, "Look for the fire exit!"
Get off the racetrack. Pull in the infield.
All right, so coming up on 4 laps to go this time by. It's now just 5 cars in the lead pack as Andy Jankowiak has lost fuel pressure. Running in the 4th place position here in contention for the win. A tough break for him. They'll finish off the lead lap as he tries to limp his car all the way back around to pit road. He did not make it into the pits, but he did find an exit, it looks like, somewhere towards the end of the backstretch. Great move there to keep this race under green. And now it's just a 5-car battle for the win in this lead pack, more than 12 seconds ahead of Amber Bulkin, Tony Breidinger, and the rest of the field from 7th on back. It's actually a slightly bigger pack from 7th through 13th. They have 2 more cars, it looks like, in their order compared to the 5 at the very front. But the 5 drivers going for the win in the same order they are in the running is Jake Finch leading, Chris Wright in 2nd, Christian Rose 3rd, Tanner Gray 4th, Gus Dean in 5th. A lot of side-by-side racing going on outside of the lead pack as they still battle for positions in the back half of the top 10. So it's definitely getting aggressive there, right around Frankie Muniz, Greg Van Ulst. Muniz had a little tap for the 44 car of Annunziata just from behind. Running the Kyle Petty throwback scheme, it looks like. Throwback to the Mellow Yellow 42 car days there from the early to mid-90s for Kyle Petty fans out there. 3 laps to go. Jake Finch has led every lap of the race. Can he go wire to wire at Talladega? Down the back straightaway. Nobody has made a move inside the top 5 yet. 4 Venturini cars and a lone Joe Gibbs Toyota. Lap cars could affect the finish of this thing. There are 3 lap cars that this 5-car group is closing in on. And when the 20 of Finch pulls out a line to make the move on him, will somebody else try to hang him out? That could be the chance to get the race win. Into the tri-oval. 2 to go. This time by. Pulling out a line is Finch. Everybody going with him. It's going to be very difficult to try to build up a run with only 5 cars in this lead pack, but we'll see if it can be done. Finch is going to pull to the bottom as soon as he clears this first car. And as he does, his teammates go with him down to the bottom. They'll catch another lap car who's just going to pull out away down the back straightaway onto the apron. CO3. So back to a 5-car single file pack at the front of the field. There's a little bit more spacing between them now than what there has been pretty much this entire time. And they could all be trying to hold back to make a run, but who will be the first one to try to pull out a line and make the run for themselves? Finch is going to lead coming to the white flag. It'll be the final lap of the race. He has led every lap so far, and we have not had a caution for incidents all day long. Gonna have to drive the brakes and try to manage the yellow line. A little bit of a gap between the 2nd and 3rd place cars. Christian Rose is coming with a run. He pulls out a line on the back straightaway, but nobody goes with him. Tanner Gray is going to get the 3rd place in line just behind him. Got to watch passing below the WL line. It's getting close. And now the 15 is going to have a run. Nobody went with Christian Rose. He'll fall from 3rd to 5th in this line. Very close to potentially passing below the WL line on the back straightaway by a couple cars that moved into 2nd and 3rd. Still not enough of a run to try to get after Finch. And he's just going to drive away with it. All discombobulated from 3rd and 4th place back. Nobody can help the 15 car out. And Jake Finch is going to go wire to wire, leading every lap from the pole at Talladega as he gets his first career win in the ARCA Menards Series. Chris Wright with a second place run, Tanner Gray third, Gustine fourth, and Christian Rose rounds out the top 5. The battle for 6th goes to Sean Core as he finishes 6th, Amber Bulk in 7th, Andres Perez in 8th. 9th place finish for Frankie Muniz, and Tony Breidinger rounds out the top 10. 4 Venturini cars in the top 5, 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th. And Jake Finch, again, your race winner, leading every lap from the pole. No cautions for incident in today's ARCA race at Talladega. And I wish we had the race stats available for us here to see what the average race speed was of this thing, because it had to be pretty quick. I mean, it had to be above 160 miles per hour, you would imagine, with them only having 1 caution. You'll get to hear from race winner Jake Finch as he works his way back to the start-finish line on the Talladega front stretch. Yeah, that was this was tough to sit through. I'm almost kind of regretting doing the stream, but I appreciate everybody at 17th. 17th place run. Appreciate everybody tuning in here today. Again, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe for more NASCAR content, live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for the Truck Xfinity Cup Series races. We have some good racing coming up for you later today with the NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Our coverage begins at 4 p.m. Again, 4 p.m. Free. Oh, not many fast enough cars to stay at the lead pack all day, and about as easy of a Talladega win as you're going to get if you're Jake Finch. Qualified on the pole, stayed there the whole race. Got good pushes on the initial start and the restart to stay up front.
Phoenix construction.
Earning his keep, right?
That's right.
That'll make him appreciate these days, right?
Exactly.
Gloves are off, taking the helmet off. Heather, these are the moments you never forget. Interviewing a driver in their first win.
For it, we will achieve excellence, and today they did it. They had a perfect day, as you see his crew chief, Shannon Rush, coming in for the big hug. And we mentioned it already, Shannon was the crew chief when your dad, James Finch, had the win here with Keselowski in 2009. Here you are now, an ARCA Series winner at this track. Walk us through the emotions and everything that's going through your mind.
Yeah, just trying to stay locked in, right? That was a fun race, and I can't thank Shannon and everybody enough. I mean, I was a nervous wreck before this race, and Shannon just told me, hey, if you do what we're supposed to do, we'll kick their butts. So I think that's what we did. Terrible burnout. A few more.
Did you look in your rearview mirror at all in those closing laps?
A few times, I think. Like Tyler Mon up there did a spec. No, I didn't look at it too. Such a good day.
Congratulations. Enjoy the celebration.
Standing by with second place finisher, Chris Wright. Chris, what a finish there to the end. No cautions, man. How about that?
Yeah, I was definitely not counting on that third day, but a green race, happy to have that happen. It got a little hairy there in the start with all the cars. I think we were 3 wide for a little bit. I made a move a little too late, but I saw the guys trying to break off behind me, and the last thing I was going to do is let somebody else win the race other than a Venturini car.
Do you think you had anything else? Do you think there was another move you could have made to make sure you got that 15 in between them?
Yeah, I definitely could have made some more aggressive moves, but I wanted to keep that victory in the Venturini camp. I didn't want it to go to the Gibbs guys or the 32 guys. So trying to be a team player there.
Chris Wright making sure his team brings home the victory. Booth.
And thank you, Mama Chris.
All right, so I can't really give you guys the full finishing order because I don't have the names of the drivers of where exactly they finished because the names are not on this list like they usually are. I think I do know the names of the top 10 at least, so we'll go through that. Again, your race winner today, Jake Finch in the 20 car, leads all 76 laps from the pole, gets the race win. You can't be any more dominant than that. 15 car, as you just heard from Chris Wright, finishes in second place right behind him. Tanner's out the top 5. Sean Core finished in 6th. Amber Bulk in 7th. Andres Perez in 8th. Frankie Muniz with the top 10 in 9th. And Tony Breidinger rounds out the top 10. And again, only 15 cars finished on the lead lap here today. Be sure to, again, hit that like button if you guys haven't done so. Subscribe 200 at Talladega. We have more live commentary streaming coming for you guys. Our second stream is in the books on the weekend. We've got 2 more to go. 1 today, 1 tomorrow. Today's stream at 4 p.m. Eastern in a couple hours, NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage, and the NASCAR Cup Series race coverage will begin on the channel tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern, all from Talladega Super Speedway. Hope to see you for that one. I can guarantee you the raw feed on NASCAR's website is going to be a lot better. We'll actually have the names, the actual lap times in between drivers, intervals, and all that great stuff that unfortunately we couldn't get today with the ARCA race because on their website it was obviously off. So we'll have much more, I'd say, better coverage from the raw feed coming up later today in the Xfinity race as well as the Cup tomorrow. But appreciate the support as always anyway, and appreciate you guys sticking around here for this one on a surprise ARCA race live stream on the channel. I can't say that there will be any more ARCA races, but again, Truck Xfinity Cup races every weekend if you're new, and as well as the Cup Series practice and qualifying. We had Cup Series qualifying already this morning that we streamed. So one more to go yet today, 2 more on the weekend, as I mentioned. See you guys in a couple hours. Again, 4 p.m. Eastern for the Xfinity Series race coverage today on KRC. See you soon, everyone.